Hi, welcome back to Fantasy 8. I'm Andrew, and I'm here to give you top 15 fantasy baseball shortstops for 2016. Now, number 1 is the breakout candidate, the Rookie of the Year, Carlos Correa. 99 games, 22 home runs, around a 279 average. He stole 14 bases. His OPS was great. I mean, it was all-around spectacular season. He's going to give you a ton of everything. I don't expect the power to hold up. I mean, I think he can hit more than 22, but obviously that's over a full season. But still, I mean, 20 to 25 home runs with 25 to 30. I mean, you're looking at a potential 20, 30, 25, 30 guy right here. He is the top guy. I mean, he's heads above everybody in the shortstop category. Number 2 on my list is Troy Tulowitzki, the former number 1 shortstop for a ton of years in a row. He overall had decent numbers, a little down for his career, 280 average, 17 home runs, 70 RBIs, but he's not the first rounder he was anymore. He's not going to go in the first round. He's going to play his first full season outside of Coors Field. He only hit 239 with the Blue Jays. I don't think that's who he is. He'll definitely hit for higher averages than that. But he is starting to decline, and I don't think he'll be what he was before at Coors Field with the Rockies. I think 20 home runs. The RBIs will definitely be there in that lineup. But he's not the guy you take in the first round anymore. Number 3 on my list is Xander Bogaerts, who broke out to have a decent season last year. 320 average, reduced his strikeout rate. He improved on everything except home runs. I was pretty surprised that the home runs weren't there. I think he'll improve on it. I think he has the potential to hit 20, but I think a realistic would be 12 to 15, somewhere around that. I think Corey Seager has more potential here, which I'll be talking about him next. But Xander wins the number 3 spot because of the track record of last season. Number 4 on my list is Corey Seager, and he's an interesting player right here. I mean, you look what he did in 27 games, 337 average, 4 home runs, 17 RBIs, 8 doubles, 14 walks to 19 strikeouts, an OPS of 986. Now, obviously, he's not going to be this good over a full season, but would we be talking about him like we were talking about Correa if he had a full season under his belt? I mean, he's one of a lot of these young shortstops are coming up and mashing. You got Correa, you got Seager, you got Lindor. Shortstop, they're starting to get a lot more quality players in the mix for it. Now, I think Seager in draft so far is going a little high just because of the hype surrounding him, but he definitely has the potential to be the number 2 shortstop at the end of the year. Number 5 on my list is Jung Ho Kang. You might have expected Lindor to be here, but I'll explain more about that next. Kang had a pretty decent season in his first year, in his rookie, quote-unquote, season. 15 home runs, 58 RBIs. The season was cut short by that nasty slide into second base that later happened to Utley. Also, I'd like to see him improve his walk-to-strikeout rate. I'd like to see him walk a little bit more, but he had a pretty decent on-base percentage. 24 doubles. I think he can hit 20 home runs, and, that's pretty solid at the shortstop position. He's going to hit for a 290-ish average, and I feel like he can improve on all these numbers. It was his first season. Let's see what he does now that he's adjusted. I'm expecting big things from him in the second season. Number 6 on my list is Francisco Lindor. And man, this guy is getting hyped up. And I'm not buying into it. I wouldn't draft him because he's going way earlier than I would feel comfortable drafting him. And that's because of last season. He had 313, 12 home runs, 51 RBIs. He had 12 stolen bases. I mean, it looks like he could be a potential 2020 guy, but based on his track record in the minor leagues, I don't see that happening. One of the big reasons he was a big prospect in the first place was his glove. He has a great glove, but that doesn't translate into fantasy value. I don't think he can hit like this. I think he could get 10 to 15 home runs, Stolen bases up there, 20. I mean, he is 6th on my list. I think he'll do pretty good, but his track record doesn't say he's going to hit over 300. I think 280-ish is fair. He's not a power hitter. He's not going to hit home runs at the clip we saw last season. He will steal bases. He got 12 stolen bases while only getting caught twice. So just be wary and don't reach on his expectations from 2015. Draft him more on realistic expectations of what can happen in 2016. Number 7 on my list is Jose Reyes. Now, he's pretty complicated to rank. As you know, he's dealing with some legal issues and could get suspended to start the season. That decision's expected to be made in March, early March. But looking at the stats, I ranked him purely on if he doesn't get suspended. Obviously, that's probably not going to happen. But that's how I just figured I would rank him. He only hit 7 home runs last year, 53 RBIs. He still stole 24 bases. He's still stealing bases. He's playing in Coors Field now. But if he plays well, I don't expect him to be with Colorado by the All-Star break because they've got Trevor Story ready to take over there. I think the steals will start dropping off because he's aging, but he still could get 18 to 20, and I think he could reach 10 home runs again. He's a solid player who will get you a little bit of everything and help in the stolen base category. Number 8 is Brandon Crawford, who definitely had a big season last year. You see the home run total there, 21. 84 RBIs. On base percentage was a little low, but I don't see him doing this in 2016. He's a great shortstop, but he's a better real-life player than fantasy. His glove, he's probably the best defending shortstop in the National League, potentially the best in baseball along with Simmons. But I think he's going to hit 10 to 15 home runs. It's more realistic. The added power last year came at a cost. His strikeout to walk ratio went up. He was striking out more. But I would just be wary. Don't expect a repeat of this year. Just expect 10 to 15 home runs, 60 to 80 RBIs, somewhere in the middle of that range. I'd like to see the walks go up. I think he hasn't really hit for average. I think he can get it up to 260, 265. Just don't expect the power to translate into this season. Number 9 on my list is someone who's not shortstop eligible in all leagues. I know he still is in some leagues because he is in one of my leagues. Justin Turner. He has played well the last 2 years for the Dodgers. I feel like he goes relatively unnoticed for the numbers he produces. He had 294 last year, which was down from 340 in 2014. 26 doubles, 16 home runs, an on-base percentage of 370. He just gives you all-around stats. He won't steal a ton of bases, but he'll get a couple. He qualifies at multiple positions too, which really helps if he's your bench or / utility kind of guy. Second base, third base. He'll give you that options to move him around. And I think he's a really solid guy that gets forgotten sometimes. Number 10 on my list is Addison Russell, who was also on my second baseman list. I don't really have anything more to expound upon him. Rookie season last year. I think the power numbers could go up. They definitely will go up. His strikeout rate scares me, but that accompanies most of the Cubs' young players, besides Rizzo. I really question their philosophy sometimes. It seems like all their guys... don't get me wrong, they're great hitters. I just think they need to teach their guys better plate discipline. Number 11 on my list is Cardinal shortstop Jhonny Peralta, who had another decent season last year with a 275 average. 17 home runs was slightly down from 2014, where I think he had 21. RBIs were nice. Strikeout to walk ratio is not horrible, but you can see before the All-Star break he had 298, but after he hit 243 and only hit 4 home runs after the All-Star break, so that's relatively concerning. He stayed relatively healthy. He's played 157 games in 2014 and 155 in 2015. But I think that was part of the problem last year. I think he was tired out. The Cardinals didn't have people that could take over at shortstop. I mean, they had Cosma and Garcia, but they didn't feel comfortable playing them. So it'll be interesting to see what he does this year. I expect relatively the same season that he had in 15, with possibly a couple less home runs, 15 or so. He could get back up to 20. He's just aging. I think the power is going to be one thing that's going to start declining. Number 12 on my list is Starlin Castro, which may surprise some of you. First half of the season, he was atrocious, and if Javier Baez didn't strike out too much and would hit for average, he would have been replaced right then and there. But actually, looking at his post All-Star break numbers, he had 295, 15 doubles with 6 home runs. He's traded to the Yankees now, so that constant threat of Baez is gone. He will be playing for the Yankees. The Yankees don't have anybody at second to really substitute him with, and he's hitting in a worse lineup, but I think the move was good for him. Even before the Zobrist signing, Castro, I mean, you could tell he was on the way out. They weren't enthralled with him anymore. He plays a lot of games every year. I think he can get 15 home runs. I think the average can come back up. Just like a lot of Cubs hitters, he strikes out too much and walks too little. And I don't expect that to improve as it hasn't his entire career. Number 13 on my list was one of my sleepers, Eugenio Suarez, who took over for an injured Zach Kozar last year. His average went up by 36 points, but his on-base percentage dropped. He wasn't walking as much. He's striking out a little bit too much. But I think with improved plate discipline this year, he could provide solid value at a really shallow position. He's playing third base, but he'll have shortstop eligibility carrying over from last year. And, I mean, I think he can hit 15 home runs, which isn't horrible for a shortstop at where you can get him if he's been drafted at all by people. I really want to see the plate discipline. Can he improve plate discipline over a full season? Number 14 is Marte, who wasn't even on my radar going into last season, but he had a decent first impression in 15. He hit 283. Stole 8 bases, and there's a track record of there. I mean, he stole 29 and 14, a total of 20 between the majors and the minors in 15, and I think he could provide a solid amount of stolen bases in the back of the draft. He's not going to hit for power. I mean, if he hits more than 5 home runs, I'll be shocked. I don't think the RBIs will be there, but he's going to get you triples and doubles, which will help that slugging percentage. Number 15 is Desmond. Desmond, bet you wish you took that $100 million contract now. Absolutely horrendous season. The only positive was the home runs were there, but even those were down. No play, just 187 strikeouts, like 187. If you draft Desmond, you better have a solid backup because, I mean, last season was horrendous. Strikes out too much. OPS was really low, and his slugging percentage was really low for a guy with 19 home runs. I mean, the doubles were down. They were lower than 30. I'm not saying he can't rebound. I'm just saying I don't expect one. He just doesn't have the plate discipline to do it. Interesting to see where he lands up. I've heard rumors of Tampa, San Diego, so we'll see what happens there. And that was my list for the top 15 shortstops for this year. Thanks for watching Fantasy Aid, and if you have any questions for me, you can either leave it in the comments below or email fantasyaid1@gmail.com.